Hello again from laststandbrand.com. Not worth the garden today after missing about 7 days of garden work because of rather peculiar weather. We had hail, pretty much destroyed the lettuce crop, 1.9 inches of rain in 4 hours, and 70-mile-an-hour winds. I've never been in a 70-mile-an-hour wind. It's pretty scary. However, what we need to do now is take a look at the vegetables to see if we can figure out what this bad week has done. Well, there's the peas. They look great. No blossoms yet. I'd really hope to have some blossoms about this time, but looks like it's going to be another week. And see the spinach, which has been picked several times now. I believe it is the largest crop of spinach I have. Half of it's gone, half of it's cut out. Water pretty heavy. The soil pretty heavy from the water. I've already taken a look at these and decided that beets had to be thinned out. You might be able to notice how they're bermed up. Been a lot of soil added to those to make them stand out. We're in fact covering the bottoms of or covering the roots so that they can develop in place. Sort of making the ground come up to meet them. The eggplant isn't looking too great, but it looks a lot better than prior to hoeing it up. What happens with the soil is the top dries out, the top layer dries out very quickly and disallows the fine root hairs from growing in the topsoil. So that's why the need to cultivate and hoe this ground up. Let's take another look here and see what we can find with the carrots. Boy, now there's a crop that needs to be thinned out, I would say. I've also been berming this soil up to make sure the roots don't have to go too far into this heavy clay soil. But now that I see this, I guess my next task is to thin out some carrots. Isn't that broccoli? It's like a forest, the garlic, isn't it? Just like a forest in here. 8 leaves already. It's just about up to my belt. Here we have, it seems to be the new variety of kale, imperial kale. I tried some, it's quite sweet. Seems to be a cross between Vate's blue kale and dinosaur kale. But very sweet. Here are the cold plants. They've been hoed up this morning, and it sort of looks like most of the transplants that made it in are going to be Brussels sprouts. There's a few broccoli in here, but I'm afraid that's what got transplanted. You remember we were talking about transplanting lettuce into the garden. There they are. There's the seeded ones. Some more seeded ones. More seeded ones. But the transplant, given a 2-week start in the greenhouse, seemed to be outperforming the seedlings. Maybe we'll have to start doing that regularly. Real struggle getting all these onions in. There's 4 50-foot rows of onions, and they're great. Look, 6 leaves already. The green's not too much to see, but I think the last job I did was hoeing these plants because it's too wet. We'll have to wait till tomorrow to get them looking good. As you can see, there's a tremendous amount of rain. There was standing water in the garden. Thankfully, we planted the rows across the drainage of the land, which caused little dams and dikes to be formed up in each row of vegetable, to stopping the water, allowing it to soak in instead of creating a torrent and washing the garden soil away. But that wasn't exactly the case down at the far wet end, at the bottom of the grade here at Last Stand Brand. It'll be 10 days before you can walk on that. I've stepped in that before, and you can sink up to your knee in that little pit down there. Tomatoes going in when it dries out. Well, that's it for a weekly report from laststandbrand.com. Keep your eye on the weather.